Okay, guys, so there's a lot to go on what just happened in that trailer. To start off, I would actually like to talk about a few things, which I'll probably add into a second video after the fact. But to start off, I'm actually going to go ahead and directly talk about the Island Challenge. Now, to me, the Island Challenge stuck out the most in this trailer besides the Pokemon. Now, on the Pokemon official website, it says one aspect of the unique culture that has developed in the Alola region is the Island Challenge, an adventurous rite that involves traveling through each of the four islands. This event helps young people grow into fine Pokemon trainers. As the main character of Sun and Moon, you yourself are destined to attempt this challenge. That's the description of it so far. Now, speaking on the Island Challenge trials and the Totem Pokemon, to compete in the Island Challenge, young trial goers must overcome the trials in store on each of the four islands. These trials are not limited to battling with Pokemon. They they take a variety of forms such as finding items or completing tests of knowledge, such as well, it doesn't really dictate. You will not be able to accomplish them with ordinary methods. So when they say ordinary methods, I would imagine that they're actually talking about, like, I think you need downloadable play, which it kind of seems like that, but I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, moving on. Moving on to the specific totem Pokemon, which really were a definite, yeah, hi, we're working on synchro evolution kind of thing. At the end of each trial, a mighty Pokemon known as Totem Pokemon will be waiting. A Totem Pokemon is much larger than the others of its species, and its body is enveloped in a special aura. Now, in the trailer, you can see Yungos' evolution glowing some type of yellowish aura, which we see later on in the trailer. Now, although it's not clarify if you can actually catch the totem Pokemon or not, but I know for a fact that these Pokemon are not just gonna be, there for you to beat or whatever, and just go ahead and just, after you beat it, you walk away. Because I'm pretty sure catching a Pokemon of this rare of a caliber, there's no necessary reason not to want to be able to catch it or be able to catch it. So, that's just weird stuff. Anyway, moving on. Next, we're talking about sophisticated combos in SOS battles. When totem Pokemon are in battle, they summon ally Pokemon to join them. With the support of these allies, the totem Pokemon become even more powerful, and it seems that the Pokemon other than the totem Pokemon sometimes call allies to aid them as well. So basically, in the trailer, we saw Gumshoes, or whatever, call out a Yungoos, and from the sounds of the description, it seems as if Yungoos can also call out multiple allies as well, meaning we're looking at a horde battle, if you will, like we saw in X and Y. So even if we do end up not being able to catch the totem Pokemon, something tells me that you can still catch the Pokemon who were defending it. Which I honestly would not be too mad about, because the way I see it is just like with Horde Pokemon, you can only catch one of those specific Pokemon. So if it's three Yungoos protecting that Gumshoes or whatever, I'm guessing the main Pokemon who you'd be aiming for would be the glowing, Gumshoes. Now, moving further along into the details, now we're getting into grand trials. The final trial on each island is called the Grand Trial. I'm sorry. It is the Pokemon battle against the Kahuna who leads that island. Now, if you guys remember at the very first official Pokemon Sun and Moon trailer, we saw Hala, who looks like a samurai slash sumo wrestler or whatever in the very first trailer, and who we later found out was the assistant of Professor Kukue or whatever you want to call him. And the whole point of it is that the Kahuna is more in Hawaiian nature. It's basically he is the most trusted advisor of each island. So he or she is the most trusted as it will stand. So if, for example, there's a female Kahuna in the next island or whatever, which I believe it is, which means we're just going to follow the story by going against these 4 trainers. So, basically, it's more of a rite of passage in becoming an adult, if you will. But anyway, if the trial goer succeeds in clearing the grandchild, he or she is publicly recognized having cleared all of the island's trials and can move on to the next island. So basically, even if you do have a Pokemon that knows the ability surf or fly, I'm pretty sure you're not going to be able to go to the next island until you've actually managed to clear the trials on one exact island of its own. So if I had to say what are the terms of somebody actually being able to clear the game in one case, I'm definitely expecting there to be a lot more detail into it now that there are not any gym leaders for any specific gym leaders in this game. But anyway, moving on. Next, I'm going to talk about riding the Pokemon. Now, in the trailers, in the last 2 trailers we've seen prior to this one, and the one I think that was released in like April, I believe, you can most definitely ride Pokemon, and that's been proven as if just like we could do in X and Y. Now, what's cool about that is the fact that not only can you ride a specific Pokemon, although they did not specify, but in the trailer you can see Sun and Moon riding a Sharpedo, a Mudsdale, and a Charizard, all from Gens 1, 4, and 7, respectively. Now, if I could actually show you the illustration, which I can't right now at the moment because my internet's some trash, so I'm pretty much just going to upload this video whenever I have Wi-Fi again. So basically, if you check the Pokemon website, there's an illustration that shows Sun and Moon riding Charizard, Mudsdale, and Sharpedo respectively, but they have strange devices that look like Pokemon communicators and strange Pokeballs that are in their hands. Now, to me, I honestly, before anyone tries to make make a theory video saying that you can keep the Pokemon that you ride with, I really doubt that. Because just like going over with the trials, the trials, and the battling the Kahuna of each island in order to clear one island and go to the next, I imagine that these Pokemon are specifically just for the trials of each island. So even if unless they do have some type of specific where if you do complete the challenge you can keep said Pokemon, which I kind of doubt. But I feel like that would be a good turn of events if it actually did work like that. But, stranger things have happened. But that's basically all I'm saying about that. I honestly will not put too much effort into, thinking about what will happen in Pokemon Sun and Moon. But I will definitely put this in another video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Subscribe, enjoy, and follow me in the links below.